Good morning, everybody. It's Wow Wednesday. I'm so excited that you are here with us today. I am Trish Carr, and I'm filling in for the fantastic Nancy Matthews. And today I am honored to be here because our guest today is someone who has taught me so much. So much. I've learned so much from this woman. She has the background to get your marketing going where it needs to go. She has the know-how to show you how you can have your website be something that actually attracts people to you instead of you sending them to your website. She has the know-how to really show us how Google can give us gifts on a regular basis. So let me say, I want to tell you about Dottie Scott, who is the owner of Premium Websites and the owner of Ask Dottie, the number one technology Q&A that's available to you so that you can be moving through any technology problems. Dottie's your girl, and she creates unique websites offering personalized solutions beyond the cookie cutter websites that you see. She is the best-selling author of your itty bitty amazing visibility book. She's all about visibility, and she empowers us as business owners to get from where we are to where we want to be. So Dottie Scott, welcome.
Thank you so much, Trish. I'm so happy to be here this morning.
Me too, me too. And here's the thing. We always talk about making sure you get people into your database and having a lead magnet so that people can opt in and give you their email address. And what we're talking about today is a little different. It's about how do I get people to come to me without having to point them in my direction? So let's get started. So we hear about SEO. Can you just give me like a quick overview of that's what we're talking about today? What is SEO?
Search engine optimization. That's what it is. But the reality is it's everything you do online and it accumulates year after year. So if you're doing a little bit all along, it accumulates to a lot, which just let me give you an example of how this works. I got a call 2 days ago from an orthodontist in California. No connection to this person whatsoever. He was having issues with his website showing up in the search engine, so he Googled something. I don't even know what he typed in. And he found a website called Yoast, which happens to be a search engine optimization plugin for WordPress that I use. And at some point in the past, a long past, because I don't even remember this, I had commented on one of their blog posts. And somehow, whatever he typed in, that post came up. He read my comment and he said, I got to talk to this person. He Googled my name to find my phone number and he called me. You can't make this up.
Wow.
I have an appointment to talk with him later this week about helping him fix his website. Things that I did years ago that I have no recollection of whatsoever brought me a new client this year. It's like, how does that work? That is search engine optimization at
And
its
that's not the only time it's happened. Didn't you recently
oh,
tell me that you had a blog post that you wrote 2 years ago? What happened
mhm.
there?
Yeah. I had another I call these random gifts from Google.
Gifts
Some
from Google.
Yes, random gifts from Google. Someone Googled something. Again, I don't know what the phrase was, and one of my blog posts came up. He read the blog post and then again called me to get his questions answered, and a new client happened there too.
So just considering that one sale, how much was that you earned there?
$2,500.
$2,500 because you had a blog from 2 years ago that you were smart enough to put keywords, right? You used keywords on it so people could find you. So what kind of keywords do you use so people can find you?
That's the interesting thing. If you've ever had a website built, your website designer probably asked you something like, give me a list of all of your keywords. It's impossible to know every single way that somebody's going to type something into a search engine. And when I ask people this, I'm lucky if I get 20. Okay. So the keywords come naturally if you are blogging on topics that are surrounding whatever you do. As you write new articles, that article is going to have its own set of keywords that you may or may not have even thought of when you built your website. Blogging is a way to get a lot of a diversity of keywords into the mix because, again, you don't know how somebody's going to search or what they're going to type in. For me, website designer is my king keyword, if you want to look at it that way. But there's so many variations and other things that I do that blogging is how I get all of that into my website, all those keywords.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So here's what we want to talk about today. Today we want to show you that giving this a little bit of attention can bring you business. $2,500 gift from Google. And then the one you got this week that you're having a conversation with first of all, if this guy jumped through whoops to find you after seeing a comment on Yoast, I
Mhm.
think you have a customer for life as long as you deliver, which I know you will. But that's what this conversation is about. It's one of those things that maybe we don't put attention on because nobody's looking for me online or they're going to find me on LinkedIn but the reality is that there are random gifts from Google and Dottie Scott, who has been in business for
Almost 20 years, yep.
almost 20 years because of everything she's done in the past. It is all accumulated. So now people find her on her website, and it only happened because she gave it attention. So
A
let's
little bit
a,
each week.
a little bit each week. So a little bit is like 15 minutes. So what is the first thing to focus on when we want to drive people to our website?
One would think that it is something to do with your website. I'm here to tell you that's only about 20%. The other 80% is everything you do outside of your website that points back to it. Okay, so I want you to picture your website as the center of your universe online. And every little thing that you do goes to the website. For example, way back when, 15 years ago, it was super easy to get 3 or 4 or 5 of my website pages indexed into Google for the same search. And when someone would type in whatever they typed in, I could have 3, 4, 5 pages of my website show up on page 1. Google says that's not fair, and they quit doing that. Now you have to show up in different places online in order to claim more than one spot on the search result page that shows up when somebody types in a search. So, how do you do that? For several searches that you can do around my industry, at least locally here in Vancouver or Portland, I have videos that show up, and the videos are on YouTube. So, it's not on my website. They're on my website too, but the ones that show up are on YouTube. If you were to type in, if someone was doing research about me and they typed in my name or my business name and they put reviews after it, there's many different review sites that show up for me. There's many different testimonial videos that show up for me. So it's easy for someone to decide if they want to call me if they do that search because they've got 10, 20 things to look at before they ever call me. A lot of times, people that call me have already made their decision before they even call me. Now their decision is, what package do I need to fit my needs?
Yes.
So it
Yeah.
makes sales easy.
Wait, let me repeat that. They've already decided that I'm their web designer when they call me because of my profiles all over Google, all the things that you can see about me
And the videos they've watched.
and the videos. So Google is owned by YouTube and vice versa, right? YouTube owns
Google owns
YouTube.
YouTube, yes.
Okay, so YouTube is the second largest search engine behind Google, and they're attached to each other. So when people say, should I do videos? What's the answer?
Heck yes.
Heck yes. So that gets us to show up more than one time in the search engine.
Mhm.
So if I put in web designers, and you'll come up under premium websites, you'll come up under Ask Dottie, you'll come up under your videos,
It'll
right?
come up under different directories, citations, different review sites. I've got profile sites out there that show up.
It's
It
so
all
fun.
of it links to my website.
Yes, and it's very interesting that you even all of you being in the Women's Prosperity Network's member directory, that is another way that moves you up. I will Google people, and what comes up is Women's Prosperity Network member. So really, wherever you can be listed on more places, the more opportunity you have to come up. Now let's talk about
Yeah.
blogging just for a second. So
We
do
can
I
talk
post?
about blogging for hours if you want.
I know you can. Because that's another way people think I write these blogs, but I don't get anything. So if I'm writing a blog and I post it on my website, that's going to give me additional visibility too. How does that work? Because you're hosting it on the same place you have all your website stuff.
I'll
Doesn't
tell
it
you
help?
a super ninja trick. This is what I do. I write a blog post. And again, when you write a blog post, it's going to have its own unique set of keywords. So if someone is typing in keywords related to what you wrote, your blog post is going to show up in the search results, not your homepage. So that's an important distinction. But here's what I do, Trish. When I write my blog post, or after I write my blog post, I will repost it on Medium. I will repost it on 3 or 4 other sites that I have a membership with. I will repost it on my Google business account. Super important to repost it on your Google business account. And every time you repost it, sometimes you're only posting part of it because of the text limitations of the different platforms. But it always links back not to your website, but to that article. So you've got links going from wherever on the internet to that specific blog post. And that helps for the SEO of that blog post, as well as the blog post is helping the SEO of your entire website. So it builds over time as you build more posts.
Wow. All right. So you post your blogs on other platforms that are there for blogs, such as
Yep.
medium.com.
Medium. Yeah, that's a big one. They have their own following, so it gets its own exposure on Medium itself. It's a huge platform.
Okay. And then you could Google blog post platforms if you want to get on others. And it's a good idea to get on many. The other
Yes.
thing that's really easy is for people to collaborate together and for me to write a guest blog on your website. right?
Mhm.
Because there's another place that I'm going to show up. So I did that with a friend of mine. Every month we would swap blog posts and it moved me up in Google.
Here's
So
another thing you can do, Trish, along those lines. And I actually haven't done this. I need to do this, but I've participated in this with some different companies. They'll put out a topic. Let's say, Trish, you guys wanted to do a blog post on different marketing platforms. We'll just say that. So then you put out a message to your universe, all the WPN people, say, give me one tip on whatever the topic was. In this case, it was be marketing platforms. And then you go through and you choose the best, say, 20 tips from the ones that are submitted. And they all get listed on this post. All of them link to the various people's websites. So you're all doing that. And then what you do when it's published is you say to those 20 people that got published in your post, the post is live. You can help promote it. They put it out through social media and it's all linking back to the post. Or what I do when I do this is I will write a blog post on my blog and I will say, oh, I was featured on such and such website on such and such topic. Here was my tip and link to that post. But you've got a bunch of cross linking on the internet. It works really well. And you didn't write that post. 20 other people did, if you want to look at it that way. All you did was compile it.
so let me make sure I got this. Let's say, so I spoke at Jill Lublin's last week.
Mhm.
And in my blog post, I actually like tagged Jill. Is that
On
how?
like a Facebook post or something?
Yeah, like how does it link back to Jill if I talk about Jill Lublin in my blog
Well,
post?
tagging is 2 different things. So,
Right. I know
like,
I use that term and I know it's not the right term.
okay, so you're talking about in your blog post,
Right.
you were writing about whatever you were saying on Jill Lublin's interview. So at the bottom or anywhere, whenever you mention Jill Lublin, you could just link her name to her website or to wherever she published.
Got it. I
If
make
it
a
was like a
hyperlink.
podcast or something, you'd link with
Right.
that.
Right. So a hyperlink is when it lights up and people go, oh, I click on her name, it'll take me somewhere.
Correct.
Okay, and you can do that when you write a blog. You can do it in Word. It's not challenging. You
Yeah.
can do that. All right. That's a great idea because every time you speak on someone's platform, they're looking for you to help them promote. And honestly, most people don't. The only promotion is, hey, I'm going to be on Jill Lublin. Come and see me. But after the fact, this is so great because then not only are you linking to someone else's web, which is going to up your SEO, but you are getting another tip out to your people. Oh, I love that. I
And
love
one
that.
thing you can do a step further from that, Trish, if you're interviewed by somebody who is recording, like I know you're recording this today,
Right.
I'll get the recording from you. I'll put it up on my YouTube account. I will write a blog post about it. I'll put the video on it, but I'll say something about WPN in that blog post and I'm going to link to either whatever you wrote about this interview or some other relevant page on your website. So you're getting more exposure that way as well.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay, so my head's spinning a little bit. I had a question from April who wants to know what's the difference between tags, keywords, slugs, and SEO. I
So,
think SEO is the whole umbrella of
yeah,
it.
SEO is the whole umbrella. Keywords are words that people type into a search engine to find whatever information they're looking for. And it can be a keyword phrase. My biggest keyword phrase is website designer in Vancouver, Washington, for me, because that's where I live. Tags, if you're talking about social media, tags let other people know that you're talking about them and it pulls them into the conversation. And it can post your post on their profile. if they allow it. On in a blogging WordPress environment, tags are very different. They're actually a way to group similar topics together. So they're really a navigational assistance, if you want to look at it that way. Let's say you're a health coach and you're talking about drinking 64 ounces of water or something. You could tag 64 ounces of water, and then say a month from now, you write another post on health and you mention water in there, you could tag that. What that does is it ties those two posts together with that tag. If someone comes to the website and they're looking for how much water should I drink to be healthy, they see your tag, they click on it, they're going to find an archive of every post that you've done that has that tag in. So it's more of a convenience navigational thing for your users than it is anything else. I hope that made sense.
Yeah. What's a slug?
A slug is just simply the end of the URL. So on a blog post, it's the URL of your blog post. So for me, for example, my website is premiumwebsites.net. And let's say I wrote a blog post on the best website designer. So the slug would be the best website designer.
Ah, gotcha. Everybody I'm subscribed to on YouTube, almost everybody who is professional, and that's what they do, they're YouTubers, right?
Mhm.
Every single one of them at the end of their video says, I linked another video on this same subject, or I linked a video about the next step that we're talking about. And it's right here. Just click there. So that's why they're doing that, is because it's increasing their search engine optimization.
It's also on YouTube. The longer someone stays on your channel and watches and consumes your information, the more YouTube is going to promote your videos when someone is searching. It's helping specifically for your video optimization on YouTube.
So let me ask you a question about that. All right. Because we're talking about video. And I know some of you are out there going, I don't like myself on video. I don't look good on video. I don't sound whatever. And getting on video really does work. But it's like when you have a YouTube channel and you put up a new video and you ask people, hey, can you watch this so that I get some views? Do you have to be on for a certain amount of time? I heard what you just said, that the longer you're on, the more likely you are to be pushed forward. But
Mhm.
do you have to be on for a certain amount of time to count it as a view, or what's the cheat rules we're doing here? Do you know?
I actually don't know that. But I could find out for you. But what I do know is the longer someone watches a video, the more the signals that signals to Google that this video was interesting to that person. It answered the question for that person, things like that. YouTube will put that video forward to more people that it fits for the topic. Yeah, the longer someone watches, and it's called watch time. On if you're looking at your analytics in YouTube, your watch time, the higher that number is, the more Google loves you.
That's
The more YouTube loves you.
yeah. Yeah. The other thing that, as we talk about backlinks to other people. So I already mentioned that if you go in and you're in the directory, you're going to come up and the directory is going to come up. But about the backlinks, so would it make sense then to have resources on your webpage with other links to other, so even again here, click here for an Amazon affiliate, or click here to go to learn about Dottie Scott, right? Does it make sense to have multiple backlinks to other people on your website? Does that do anything?
That helps other people. It doesn't really help you. If you're going to do that, make sure whoever you're doing it for is also in some fashion linking back to you. And it could be maybe they write a blog post and they link back to you if they don't have a resources or something. So you want that to be reciprocated if at all possible. But the other thing that it does for you is that it's showing your people that you are a resource. You are going to provide great resources for them. So it's also a way for you to get people coming back to your website for your resources if they're really useful. If they're not useful, people don't come back. So it used to be a big 15 years ago. It was a huge SEO tactic.
Yeah, and I
Now
would
it's
do
not
that.
so much an
Gotcha.
SEO tactic as a convenience for your customers.
Gotcha. 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 Dottie, so here's the thing. Here's what I know from hearing you and being involved with what you're doing. I know that I'm sitting on a gold mine of my website.
Mhm.
I'm sitting on it and I may not be mining the gold.
You're
So the
probably
gold,
not.
I'm probably not. And probably most of us aren't. So this stuff is so important. Like we always say, I need more leads. I got to get more customers. I need more prospects. They're right there. If we just spend 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week
Mhm.
on our website and our SEO. And here's the other thing I want to urge you connect with Dottie Scott. She is brilliant. And
Thank you.
you can go to askdottie.com and connect with her there because these questions come up all the time. And the bottom line truth is that we as small business owners really want to do everything possible to make it easy for people to find us. And not just make it easy for people to find us, but to help people find us.
Mhm.
Right. So I really urge us, Dottie, I know that we have lots of questions in the audience, and I'd love to hear from everybody there. While I get the lines open for everyone to ask questions, and when you ask a question, you can click on um, the raise your hand in the bottom of your screen. For those of you who are on the phone, you just hit *6, and I will see that you've opened your line, and then I'll open you next. But while I'm getting ready to open up the lines, Dottie, this is so great that we need some step by step. So tell us, I know you're doing a workshop. So tell us what you got coming up.
I'm doing what I'm calling a crash course. It is a webinar coming up in August. I'll put the link in the chat for everybody. It's a free webinar, and we're going to go over just some different strategies that you can do, or your VA can do, or whoever, to help you with your search engine optimization. It's not going to cover super technical stuff. It's not going to cover something where you might say, oh my God, I need to go find an SEO expert to fix my website. It's not that kind of stuff. It is things that you can do. What we've been talking about today. Like, how do you get all of these different citation or directories? How do you get listed in all of these in an easy way? How do you find all of the different platforms out there that you can list yourself on? How do you make those listings? How do you get those links coming back to your website? There's a lot of different strategies you can use to accomplish these, and they're not hard. The time consuming, yes, they are. I'll be honest, they're time consuming. But that's why I do a little bit every week. And then, like I said in the beginning, it accumulates over the years. Nothing goes away on the internet. You probably have realized that by now. It'll be there until either you take it down or that website goes away. It's a permanent thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always there. You're going to get individual steps on what to do, how to do it, more importantly, why to do it. Because that's the thing. People don't, we hear about SEO, and truthfully, it makes my eyes glaze over sometimes. And
It's
I,
because there's so many things out there and some of them don't work.
some of them don't work and you're spinning your wheels. So thank you for helping us with that. So go to the link in the chat. For those of you who are on Facebook, I'm going to put the link in the comments so that you have it there. And for those of you who are on the telephone, If you go to askdottie.com, will they find it?
Yes, there's a button in the very top of every single page on that website.
Let me open it up for Rita Thomas. Rita Thomas, good morning. Happy Wow Wednesday.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. And Dottie, you are just amazing all the time because the thing I love about talking to Dottie and listening to Dottie is that she takes something incredibly complex and just makes it so every single one of us can understand it. And you're just a master at that, Dottie.
Thank you, Rita.
So here's something I observed. I loved April's question about all the different things like the slug and the keyword and the tag as it relates to SEO. What a great question. Loved how you answered that. Here's what I'm observing. SEO is a long game. I'm pretty sure that's correct.
Yes, a very long game.
So we want to mix. It's almost like when your financial advisor says you want this diverse portfolio, you want a little bit of fast stuff, a little bit of slow stuff. And so we can use some of these SEO tactics to mix it up and get some action faster and then make sure we're on that long benefit track as well. Am I picking that up?
Yes. Yes. So if I understand what you're asking, is there a quick way and is there a slow way?
I love it. Yes. And then I'm thinking if there are both, then we want to do both at the same time.
Yes. So all SEO is a long haul. You can get quick wins by using your Google business profile. That's the quickest win out there. And that will be covered extensively on the webinar. I don't think we have time to go into that right now, but that's for local search. And it definitely is a quick win.
Local search meaning somebody in your area.
Yes, somebody in your local area finding you. So
Okay.
even though I build websites anywhere, I've got customers in Canada, in Italy, in Jamaica, mostly in the United States. Locally, you can show up and get some very quick wins by using Google business profiles.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Rita. Thank you. I got somebody on the 973 phone number. Your line is open.
Hey, Trish and Dottie, it's Deborah Morrison. I am ecstatic to hear Dottie again. I was just in Dallas with her, and she was a phenomenal guest on our inaugural We Can Do It Women TV show. Listen, if you haven't tapped into Dottie's brilliance, do because one of the last things she said right before the Rita's call, she distilled through the noise.
Yeah.
And I think she said not all of it worked. Now we're getting barraged with AI more recently, and Dottie has that experience, that rich experience, decades of experience. And when we have a trusted advisor that we can tap, that is going to give us what I date myself by calling the click notes. If anybody's sitting around saying, or you ever said in your life, I wish I had more time, tap these professionals who get you through to the finish line faster. And that gives you back more time to develop your ability. So one of these ideas that Dottie's talking about, just this whole thing about writing her blog and then putting it on this blog distribution channel, and that just implement one. I'm getting what book I read that talked about promoting the effectiveness of changing a habit, and you add a new action to something that is already a habit rather than saying, oh, once a week I'll take a walk, right? No, once a week after my lunch, I'm going to take a half-hour walk. And so what Dottie has just laid out, and listen to the replay if you didn't catch it, one tactic that you could employ, and I would advise you doing a Google search and see where you show up before you do that, and then employ that tip. And then about 2-3 months later, do another Google search, and the proof, I believe, was going to be in the pudding. Dottie is your main resource for anything digital creator. She's current, she's fun, and she's practical. And I just can't recommend her highly enough. Congratulations, Dottie.
Thank
Love
you,
it,
Deborah.
love it, love it.
I wanted to add something to what Deborah just said.
Good.
She said that you add something to a system that you already have in place. So what I do, because I'll be honest, I employ VAs, I will have a checklist of every place I want my blog post reposted. And then all I have to do when I discover a new place, a new venue, whatever you want to call it, I just add it to the checklist. And that way your checklist is growing, your effectiveness is growing. And if you use VAs or if you are a little memory challenged, I can be at times, you've got that checklist right there and you can just say, okay, this is here, it's here, it's here, it's here, it's here. I'm done.
Yep. Just add it to the checklist. Yeah, she's so right. It's just one little thing to just put on what you're already doing, and that makes such a big difference. I love that advice. Peg Duchesne, good morning, my friend. How are you this morning?
I am doing well. Thank you for featuring Dottie today. She is, as many people have already said, just a wealth of resource and knowledge. And she shares it in such great practical ways, easy to understand, step by step, what to do, when and where. It's just phenomenal. When you go to her website to take advantage of the free webinar she has coming up in the middle of August, be sure to also check out the Ask Dottie membership. It is a wealth of knowledge, as I said, and she's a genius, and I like hanging out with geniuses. So thank you, Dottie, for everything
Thank
you've
you,
provided
Peg.
today.
It's excellent to know one, Peg. All right, Benita, how are you this morning?
I had two questions. One, Dottie, do you rename any of your photos and videos before you post them to put your name on? Because I heard once that helps with SEO. And second, do you use a social media scheduler or you post each thing individually?
I do, as far as the scheduler, I do both. I use CoSchedule to schedule my posts. The reason I use that is they have a super nifty tool that they call Requeue that they will put it out several times in different platforms for me. When I have a blog post that I put out, I actually post that manually. So I use both a scheduler and manual posting for my social media. And then what was the first question you asked, Bonita?
I was told once that before I post each image or video to rename it and then put Bonita
Yes.
down. But I was also told that if you use a social media scheduler, it changes the file name so you don't get that. And to get the advantage of renaming, you have to do it individually. So what do you have to say about any of that?
So that's actually two different things.
Okay.
If you, for example, if you do your blog post and you upload an image, so every blog post needs at least one image for many reasons that we won't go into right now. And let's say you took the image on your phone and your image is called DSC some long number. We've seen these all the time. It's just a random number. Or you download an image from Facebook that's yours and it's converted it, you're saying, to some really long number. What you want to do is change the name of that image before you upload it to something that is optimized for that image. For example, if I was going to do a post about my We Can Do It Women experience down in Texas when I was filming, I would take one of those pictures that someone took on their cell phone that has some god-awful number name, and I would rename it We hyphen can hyphen do hyphen it hyphen women hyphen Deborah hyphen Morrison or
What does
something
the
like that.
hyphen do? Why does a hyphen? Why do you
Because
need
if you've ever noticed in a URL, when you bring it up, if you have spaces, they put a percent and a 20 between that holds the space. That's an HTML coding thing. If you put a hyphen, that doesn't happen. When the search engines are reading your images, it will read it as whatever your keyword phrase that you put in there instead of a percent 20 between each word.
So
That's
you
a
have to
technical
use
thing.
you have to use the hyphen to keep it readable.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. You want to be able to
Yeah.
read it, it needs the hyphen. Otherwise, they stick characters in there and you can't read it. It's hard to read.
Yeah.
So you do, Benita, that's a really good question. You do want to change the name of your images and whatever
Yeah.
else uploading before you upload it so that you can get the SEO by changing that name. Because now you're
So
changing it into a keyword.
And
Right.
that's on your
Right.
website.
But then
Right.
if you use a scheduler, does your co-schedule rename things? If you change it, does it take them
It's not
rename
the
it?
scheduler that renames things, it's the platforms that rename things. On social media platforms, SEO is not really a thing because social media platforms, for the most part, are behind logins. So when you're talking about search engine optimization, you're really talking about your website. When you're talking about people finding you on social media, it's within the search of that social platform, whichever one it is. And they're looking at post titles and what you actually say in your text to find people, or the tags or the hashtags and that kind of stuff. So social media platforms are a completely different animal.
But because you're on a social media platform and your links are seen there, it will help
Yeah.
your SEO.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
people say, should I be on such and such? Maybe, even if you're not going to do anything with it. It's nice to be seen.
And it
So
depends on your goals, because people are always saying, oh, don't put links on social media platforms. It drives them off the platform and your post won't be seen. That is true. But if your goal is to gain backlinks from any platform, then you have to do that. They're two different goals. Do you want to be promoted by the social platform, or is your goal to gain links? I do both.
why not? Why
Yeah.
not? Great questions, Benita. Thank you so much. Nellie Williams, good morning. How's
Good
things?
morning. Dad, I love the way you cut through all of the smoke and mirrors and all of the confusion, how to do what you do. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you very much for all of your input and your free gifts to us.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nellie. All right, I see someone in the 267 area code. Your line is open. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Carol.
I have two questions. Is the best place your blog WordPress?
Is the best place to write your blogs WordPress? Is that what you're asking?
The best place to write your blog is on your website.
Hi.
If that's
On
in WordPress, then yes. If it's not in WordPress, hopefully whatever platform you have your website in also has a blogging component to that platform.
So WordPress is great because it has a blogging platform, right? That's why one of the
It
reasons.
started as a blogging platform, actually.
So if you have WordPress, it makes it easy. And
Correct.
if you don't have WordPress, you want to have something that has that ability.
Correct.
Okay.
That's ideal to have it on your website.
Make sense, Carol?
What I do is I put it in WordPress so far and then it to my website, I guess. Do it.
Correct.
If you have to use two different platforms, then yes, use the WordPress.com. Ideally, you want your blog and your website to be on your same URL. So it's one package, if you want to look at it that way, because it helps promote each other. And there's really a lot of SEO tactics with blogging that I haven't even touched here that has to do with how you drive your article to a product that you have for sale on your website by linking up to it. In an ideal world, it's all on one platform.
Wow. Okay. So
I also had a question how to
ahead.
make your link.
How to make them
I put,
hyperlinks.
sometimes if I put on Facebook my website, they can't on it like a hyperlink. How do I make it hyper?
So if I'm understanding her question, she's going to a social media platform and she's putting like her website in. And so my website is premiumwebsites.net. If I type in to Facebook premiumwebsites.net, it won't link it. If I put in the http:// premiumwebsites.net. It knows that is a link to a website and it converts it for me and it makes it a hyperlink. So it's the same thing in the chat here. If you were just to put in your website without the HTTP : it's not clickable. But if you add that, it's clickable.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I have somebody in the
You too. Thank you.
7-7. Oh, yeah, I can hear you. Who's that?
Orioni.
Hey, Tracy. How you doing, girl? Nice to have you with us this morning.
Thank you very much. Good to hear your voice. And Dottie has given so much information. I think Dottie has probably answered my question already while I was waiting. But my question is, I go live on Facebook every Tuesday. It's called Financial Tip Tuesday. How can I maximize my reach by using SEO? I know earlier
So
you said social media is a different animal.
It
And
is. It's good to hear
so
you,
I'm just
Tracy. It's been a while since I've seen you. So
yes.
when you go live on Facebook, like this is being broadcast live on Facebook right now. What I'm going to do when this is over with is two things. And I suggest you do the same two things when you go live. You're most likely going live from either a page or your profile because they took the group option away. I go live from my personal profile, which I have converted to a professional profile. And once it's done, I will share it to my two different pages that I have. I will share it to a group that I run, and I will share it to all of the WPN. Well, Trish is probably already putting it in the WPN stuff, but I'll share it to other groups that I'm part of. If you're doing this yourself, you can download the video and I will ask Trish to give me the downloaded version. I will put it up on YouTube. I will cut it into short little videos and I'll put it into YouTube Shorts. I'll put it up on Instagram. I'll put it up on TikTok. All the different video places. I'm going to put it on LinkedIn. So I will use this video in many different ways to help my reach. I hope that answered your question, Tracy.
Yes, that does. Thank you very much, Dottie.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. I do share it on a couple platforms, so I'll share it on a few more. Thank you.
do you put it on your YouTube channel?
I actually don't have a YouTube channel just yet.
So having a YouTube channel, I'm getting from this conversation would probably be a good thing for you, Tracy. Yeah.
Yes.
And so Dottie, and let me all give you all a tip. Whenever you start something, use the collective of Women's Prosperity Network. Because when you start your YouTube channel, Dottie, what happens when you get 100 people subscribing? You're able to name your channel.
Yes. And I think they've actually taken that away. I don't think you have to wait to 100 anymore. But at different levels of subscribers, YouTube opens up different options of things that you can do.
Yeah. And here's the thing, the beauty of having a community is the community gets together on the first Tuesday of every month, gold members, platinum members, lifetime members, every first Tuesday. And we bring our questions, we get to know each other, we learn from each other. And one of the things we can do is say, hey, I just started a YouTube channel. Here's the link. Will you please subscribe? And that's a way to build your subscribership. So it's not
Yes.
hard. Dottie did it in 2 phone calls. She's smart. She came and said, hey, I need your help. So we're all willing to help. So join us on the first Tuesday, which this time is August 7th.
My
So,
first 100 subscribers were all WPN women.
yeah, that's what this is about, ladies. I'm so happy that you were here this morning, Dottie. You shared, really, my head is like full. And I love what Deborah said about just one thing, one thing. There were tons of golden nuggets here, and you were all writing them here in the chat as we went along. One of those golden nuggets, just start doing more backlinks. I mean, something simple. And be sure to come to Dottie's class. It's about supercharging your success. And this is such an easy fix. And while it's a long term game, listen, you're going to be in business anyway, but why not do it? Even if it takes a couple of years, you start now and it's done. So thank you so much, Dottie. I appreciate it. Anything we didn't get that we wanted to mention? I think we covered mostly everything.
Anything we didn't get that we wanted to mention will be mentioned on the webinar.
Absolutely. So
Just
join
like-
us, please, at the webinar. I will be there with bells on because I learned so much from Dottie. So thank you all for being with us today. Dottie Scott, as always, you are a plethora of knowledge, and I so appreciate your expertise and you sharing it with this community. Dottie is one of our educational partners, and we know that this is such an important part of your business that we want an expert to be able to give you that info. So Dottie, thank you for being that for us.